Since a lot of you want to know my settings for Apex Legends Mobile, let's just dive right into the settings so I can help you guys out to get those dubs and get those high kill games. First things first, I recommend going into Training Room, that way you can test out your settings as we go along. If you look on the top left corner over here with the gearbox, you're going to want to click that for your settings. Right here, you're going to be prompted with Advanced Setup. Now the neat thing is, whenever you click these different things, it actually shows you on the left of all the info and what it means and what it does. And I'm pretty sure it even shows you examples video-wise. But anyways, let's go over this. I have the first one, auto firing off, left fire button off, one tap ADS and fire off, bolt action sniper mode, release to fire, semi-auto shotgun mode is going to be fire after ADS, ADS mode is going to be hold, ADS button rotates camera on. Now, if you see on the bottom right here, there's also more options, and I didn't see this the first time I went through it. So we're gonna go ahead and click more options. From here, I'm gonna turn on aim assist on. You could turn it off, but for me, I like to have it on because if the option's there, why not? TPP optic is set to classic. Now, what TPP means, at first I was like, what in the world is TPP? Like, okay, that's third person perspective. If you see FPP within this tutorial, it means first person perspective. Now on the auto open doors, I have off. It was set to on before. The reason why I personally turn it off is because sometimes I was trying to pop a bat and going next to a door to close it. In the end, it opened it and I got shot. If I need to use a door, I want to be able to use it and not just have it open randomly, or in this case, auto open. When you have auto open chests, I leave it on personally. That way there's just less stuff to even think about while fighting. I'll just walk up to an enemy and right away the box just opens. I kind of like that personally. Weapon auto cycle is on, empty is off. I think the option's set to on automatically, but I like to be very aware of exactly what I'm doing with everything, so I turn that off. For continuous throwing, I have on. I'm not even fully sure what that means, but I left it on because I am still able to throw grenades at my own pace, so I'm not fully sure what that means. Tactical ability release method is classic. Ultimate use method is classic, and allow squad mate control when offline on. Now the cool thing about this feature with little question marks on the side, as you can see, if you tap them, it'll give you, well, here we go, now we know. Allow squad mates to control your legend via commands when you are disconnected in Battle Royale, arenas, and other modes. What? Allow AI to control your legend when you are disconnected in Team Deathmatch mode. Wow. That is a really cool feature, and I'm glad I read this. All right, guys, be sure to check out these question marks. A lot of information and really cool features. All right, moving on. Let's go to gameplay. So for gameplay, under the basics, I have joystick triggers auto run off, and then crouching controls tap, slide jump control classic, use the crouch button to rotate the camera off, use the jump button to rotate the camera on, climbing control mode is classic, climbing prompt is going to be failure only. Now again, I don't know what this is. Let's go ahead and click the question mark together. When you are climbing, you can choose whether to display the guideline that indicates your climbing direction and available height. The guideline is displayed by default to players under level 6, appears upon a failed claiming for the player for level 6 to 10, and is hidden by default for players above level 10. For zipline, I have display, and for riding on zipline modes, I have off. Now the cool thing is, don't forget you can scroll for more options. Riding on zipline modes is off. Vertical zipline interact button is off. Vertical zipline direction tip is on. Auto turn on vertical ziplines is horizontal. Assisted zipline floor landing is on. Within this category, don't forget you can go to items as well. So I'm going to click items. As you can see here, I have all of them off, and the only one I have on is attachment backpack. For pickup, taking damage automatically closes a death box. Ooh, I want to turn that off. For me, I like to be in control whenever I loot, so it's already set on automatically, so we just learned something together. I ended up turning that off. Just to be very clear, I haven't used that setting in the other videos that you guys have seen, but moving forward, I will be having that option off. Switch item mode is tap, auto pickup off, auto pickup interval short. When pickup list is closed, stop auto pickup on. And then the cool thing is, if you look on the bottom here, health items, ammo, ordnance, and other, is really neat because you can actually show the amount of time it takes if you hover over something, how quick it gets picked up. For ping settings, we got auto ping enemies on, auto ping items on. Now, one thing I did notice, enable quick ping wheel. I couldn't enable all of these, but it lets you choose 2 at a time. So for me, I chose go here in enemies. Obviously, you guys, pick whatever works best for you. For battlefield info, I have minimap rotation off, map radar alert on, crosshair radar alert on, show legends avatar when aiming at a target on, low ammo notification on, damage numbers display mode, both, battle info, follow crosshair, and then damage crosshair is gonna be with shield. Now, I turned it off for a bit, and I noticed on the mobile version, it was just nicer to know when I'm hitting them and when I'm cracking their shields versus I'm not fully sure. Next setting we're gonna be going over is controls. For me, I ended up going with control interface 1, and then from there you can actually custom layout. Now the cool thing is when you click certain buttons, right? You can tap different ones on the screen. When you tap them, I can actually change the size of it. As you can see, it's growing. And also how intense it is. See, like the opacity, meaning how much it fades or how much it's showing. For me, since I'm using a controller, it makes no sense for me to have bigger icons. So I turned everything smaller, and then I turned down the size. The cool thing is you can click and drag it too and move it anywhere you want, which is really customizable, and I really appreciate they even have this feature for people that might be looking for something like this. Okay, moving on. Overall sensitivity scale is gonna be 110. I believe the original is 100. For vertical sensitivity scale, it's gonna be 110 as well. For sensitivity acceleration mode, it's gonna be speed ACC. Overall sensitivity presets, I actually set it to custom. You might not be seeing these options, and if you're not, just make sure you click custom instead of anything else, just in case. Now, I'm not gonna read off all of this, but I feel like you guys will be able to at least see this because this is a lot to read. Now, for the free camera, I have free camera focus, which is 300%. Now remember, FPP, free camera focus, is off. And for the third person perspective, which is TPP, is free camera focus, which is on. Ordnance sensitivity is at 200%, and legend throwing ability sensitivity is 200%. Moving on to graphics and audio. Now, I've done a lot of different tests, and there's many videos on YouTube that cover this much more in depth, so it's gonna depend solely on your device and what it's capable of. I play on an iPad Pro, but I understand not everyone's gonna have that, so if you're playing on an older model iPhone, you should be able to get 60 frames, you just might have to bump down the quality a little bit. So what I personally like to do is, I like to play on Extreme HD, which gives me 60 frames, and see at the frame rate, I have Ultra on, you can have very high. Now, to my understanding, if you click normal, you get 30 frames for frame rate. If you click high, you get 40 frames. For very high, you get 50 frames. And for Ultra, you get 60 frames. So for adaptive smoothing is on. Display FPS, I personally have on, so I know exactly how many frames I'm getting. For FPP FOV, I have it 110. I'm pretty sure you guys might have it at 100, and if you do, be sure to bump that up to 110, only because it gives you more view around your area. For graphic style, I like to do realistic. I was actually very impressed by the look of it and the contrast and everything, so I tried out all the settings: classic, vivid, realistic, and soft. But for me personally, I really enjoyed realistic, so if I were you guys, I'd click that one. Now, under the advanced settings, we have dynamic shadows turned on, anti-aliasing off, refraction quality on, bloom off, vegetation on, like trees and grass and stuff. I want to have that on. Now, the cool thing is they also have a colorblind mode, which is really, really cool for people that are colorblind. So if you are, here's your settings that may help you. We're gonna go ahead and go on the top here where it says camera next to display. Allow left shoulder camera off. Ability screen shake effect, I personally turned off because the last thing I want is more moving or jittering. Now to the moment you guys have all been waiting for, which is controller setup. How did I get 20 kills with 4K plus damage? Because I used a controller. And the very cool thing is Apex Legends Mobile allows you to use a controller. So that being said, this is my setup. If you need to pause the screen, go ahead and pause it if you need to. Now for basics. Basics, joystick dead zone movement is going to be 0.1%. Cursor sensitivity is going to be 200%. Overall sensitivity scale is going to be 110%. Vertical sensitivity scale is going to be 75%. FPP without ADS, so again, that's first person perspective without aiming down sights, 100%. Third person perspective without aiming down sights, 100%. Iron sights, one time optic, aiming down sights can be 50%. 2 times optics going to be 40%, 3 times optics going to be 31%, 4 times optic ADS going to be 23%, 6 times optics going to be 16%, 8 times optics going to be 10%, and the 10 times optics going to be 7%. Now for the camera, here we go. Now for the camera here, the joystick dead zone is going to be 0, external threshold is going to be 1.0, and then going down a little bit to additional speed, Additional rotation speed is going to be 50%. Additional rotation speed vertical zoom is going to be 0%. Additional speed ramp up time is going to be 0.25%. And additional speed ramp up delay is going to be 0%. All right, that's going to cover up everything. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you made it towards the end. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and comment. Otherwise, see you guys tomorrow. Peace.